is that BLG, with their Vi-Ari combination and the equalizer, where do you want to go with that route? Who do you want to target? You talked about how the Jhin plays very far back. For the swap, it looks like.
Nope. Oh, maybe? No, okay. They are just going to head back towards their standard lanes. And the thing is, right, the center, as we've been saying, right, is in a strong enough spot where even if you do get completely bullied out during the early laning phase, you're still fine. It's still a situation that you can make it work.
For the next 5 or so minutes.
Oh, but Baytron is here, and Knight also on the roam down, and Kyle, he's already blown the
stun,
flash.
Cyclone on Unbreakable Will, the curtain call shot. Will it come through? Tarzan will flash forward, throw down the staff, get first blood over AL, and now the stuns are coming through for Shanks as well. Baytron will be caught with Knight, not able to support him. AL, like they've done all season long, better on the map.
No damage at this point in the game. And hang on, we jump out, could be straight into another fight. BLG, they should be able to grab this Drake uncontested, but... Oh, Shanks.
Shanks has his flash available. Knight waiting with the charm. Flash going to be committed. The headbutt pulverized from On is perfectly timed, and Shanks is picked off. And who gets the kill but Knight? Can we see response from the Hope Kyle?
Watch this bot lane.
Dive?
I think this is a terrible idea to dive.
Yeah, this would be... This is a very big overload as well for BLG.
Yeah.
Elk is on this side of the map. On top of that, and maybe anyone's Legends want to scrap an Aaron curtain call there, but Kyle still wants to commit. On has already popped the Unbreakable Will. No damage really coming across just yet. Dying Shout for the protection. There's the 6 assist down. They try and lock down Tarzan. Cyclone comes through. The equalizer does whiff. Doesn't find any mainstay. Carries. Baytron bails out. Elk trying to heal, but here comes Timbers from Shanks. And they've got Bin sectioned off, and the bouncing grenade follows over the wall, and now Timbers is going to throw down onto On. No, it's going to be Hope. No, yes, it is Timbers. Another Timbers highlight play of the LPL.
BLG. What are you doing? What was that? That is a baffling play right there from BLG. Good on AL to notice drafting yourself a composition that has so little damage. They just can't go for these fights early on. AL, they're in complete control of the map.
AL just sticking as a wrecking crew, that 4-man draft like we were talking about. It's really hard for BLG to break that line by this point. They're going to have to get creative, or AL are going to have to over-index as we see a game of teleport chicken there. Yeah. Flandra and Bin, or no, let Flandra and Knight teleport over to that bot side, but it's Shanks on the flank that burns both summoners with a snap of a finger out of Elk. That's the Timbers effect. It's going to set up Shelly for a second crash. This is textbook AL macro gameplay. They were just so on point, moving around the map as a hit squad, and they're about to try and knock down another turret off the back of it. And with Flandra and this Yorick, they should be able to do it. The play's going to trap On in place as well. One Herald gets them a tier 1, a tier 2, and a crack at the mid 1-0. They're trying to dive onto Flandra, but Kyle reads the situation perfectly, has Tarzan nearby. Again, BLG are just trying to pigeonhole this dive onto Flandra, but AL are here to cover. The minion wave gets cut down. Magnet Storm being committed. On is taking up the turret that is yet to fall. Tarzan and Flandra, though, go a bit too far forward. That's a clutch charm out of Knight to hold Flandra in place, and now Baytron can fly through the cease and desist, but Shanks turns around, drops Timbers, gets the stun through. Tarzan uses the trickster to get to out, but Knight hunts him down with the charm, forces the flash. Can Hope find anything with his current call on the back end of it?
It's just going to result in a brilliant little play right here for AL. They bait the members of BLG. They make it so uncomfortable for them to potentially step up that they just don't bother. But it's not just the Drake down here. It is also going to be the Atacam picked up on the backside of it as well. AL, they are trying to walk up. They don't want to give over both of these objectives, but what can they really do?
Bin has teleport, so this could be a 5v5, but Shanks is unspotted on the top side of this fight. On is going to flash in the bush. See Shanks, watch the Atacon go down. That's a weird start. Shanks flashes, get the Timber stun, but Knight dodges it with a spear rush. Problem is, Baytron is lost on the front side of the fight. Bin is trying to corral all of AL in place, but the stuns are layering. The knockups are coming through. AL will not relent to the might of BLG. They get Atacon, they get the Drakes, and they make out with 2 kills to none. With the gutsiest call in our opening match. This Baron's free. Nobody's going to match it. AL are too late to the party. They drop the curtain call. Can Tarzan get in to steal it? No. Baytron secures it. Can they get out with the Baron, though? They took a ton of damage from the Purple Worm. They definitely don't want this fight, and On might have to be the sacrificial lamb, but look at Knight off to the side. He's going to dash over. BLG do want to try and scrap with AL, but boy, is it going to cost them. Shanks pops through Baytron's health bar. On falls next, and the rest of BLG have to be ushered out of the pit. They could have gotten away with everybody, but instead they're going to lose 2 members, and now Ocean Soul for sure.
The decision-making out of BLG is so questionable there, and it's off the back of a brilliant play. Sneak away that Baron, 2-man it. Everybody on ALG caught napping. They have absolutely no clue. And with the Baron empowered recalls and 30 seconds left on the timer before the Drake spawns, it's real easy for them to just be able to run away, press B, and come back and potentially fight
100%.
for this soul. Instead, they lose the soul. Yes, you still got a couple of Baron buff, but you lose it onto a couple of members you would have very much liked to have had it as well. BLG just making some baffling decisions so far in this game. Maybe there's some nerves coming through.
Nerves, or I would say just the BLG classic where they kind of just can disrespect their opponents. And a lot of the times in those 18 best of threes, once they got Beitchuan in, it didn't cost them. But AL are a different breed right now, and Elk is completely mispositioned. Deadly Flourish flash forward again, but look who hunts him down. Hope with the shot to the heart of Elk. He falls, and On is next on the menu. One more crit shot from Hope. It shakes to do it. Tarzan set running wild. This Baron power play means nothing to anyone's legend.
No, they're just going to step themselves straight up, and with that Ocean Soul in the back pocket, any damage you do here isn't going to stick for BLG. They're going to get pushed onto right here. You're going to have to drop down the equalizer to at least cut through this wave, but Kyle, Tarzan, they're pretty dang tanky. They're just going to absorb their way through this one. And now you've managed to crack open the base right here of BLG. The inhibitor likely to follow on the back end of this play. Yes, it's not going to spell the end of the game for BLG, but they're really going to have to put their heads back on straight if they want any chance of getting back into this one. Beitchuan going on a walk. He's spotted as well.
He's spotted stealing enemy Krugs.
Into a fight. They simply cannot win.
Tarzan is just playing his game, calm and comfortable as ever, along with Kyle, who continues to find pick after pick. But here comes BLG. Knight gets stunned up mid-dash. Shanks is here to answer. He got the confidence from his squad, and now the rest of his team is slapping home BLG. They try to hand-stiff anyone's legend, but you can't hand-stiff the Megamind of the LPL. That might have just sealed the fate of BLG. 3 members down. AL looking to crop up a series lead, and maybe Flandre will do it with the curtain call. Is going to fall flat for Elk, but they've got waves pushing, and they're looking to make a statement against Bilibili Gaming.
You've not got that good wave clear at this point, and you can see Elk already taking huge damage right here from Flandre. He's just going to get taken down.
It's Hope and Shanks, the 2 unproven carries, to put the finishing bow on a dominating start. Anyone's legend rout BLG, 14-2 in the kill count, up 1-0 in our upper bracket final. Final game 4 shutout game. He's getting tons of double knockups. And like you called out in this game, you're going to just play the role of Peel, right? You can see the clear appeal of
get his leads that he really likes to play around has been huge.
Oh, here we go. Horn down. Flandre tried to predict the flash there out of Beitchuan, but he doesn't move because Shanks is getting hounded. On dropping the dredge line. Knight flied in with the Weaver's Wall. Now we have a really murky fight lines. Flash forward for On. Gets the root on to Shanks, but Flandre perfectly playing bodyguard. It's going to cost him his life, though. Knight, great flash away from Tarzan. The buckle makes it a trade. 1-for-1. But here comes Beitchuan with the Grand Starfall. Shuts down Tarzan. Finally on the board. Kill participate. AL are hunting for a flank angle. Kyle testing the waters, gets away from the size of Michelle. He flashes, but he still gets Unravel Earth stunned. Keeper's Verdict boots out On, as you saw there. Beitchuan tried to use the Unbreakable. Here comes a bullet time through, but Elk has to cancel it in the face of 4 members of anyone's legend. Bilibili Gaming, they just stuck
towards
around
the mid lane right there from Flandre. Bin gets some alone time right here with this tower. Going to pick himself up 2 turret plates, and the TP now going to come in from Knight as well.
Wow.
They potentially think that there's multiple members on the way trying to catch Bin out. Want to give him a little bit of support right here and establish control before the Drake.
This.
Yeah,
he gets
why would
canceled
you?
out of his dash. Of course, calculated, cold, and calm as Knight. And finally, one of his CPs manifests in a pick play. Feats of Warfare.
His chicken, so is probably looking to concede this one, unless you can pull something wild out through your bot lane and mid laners right here as AO. The Drake goes down to about half. Now you can see Tarzan is running his way over. He might just about make it. No, not quite.
With Shanks. I don't think he's going to be able to get in here. Kyle gets canceled out of his grand entrance. Stun lock completely. Kyle will not escape. Beitchuan hunts him down with the flash, but Elk gets caught in the Graviton well. Arcane Storm doing a ton of damage. On is trying to bail out of this fight. Has Flash get over the wall if he needs to, but Bin has arrived to the play. Going to slam down the hammer, and here comes the Grand Starfall. The turn from BLG. Can Tarzan stop it? He's going to try to get at least 1 kill out of Beitchuan. He will trade, but Bin eradicates this play. Gold lead brought to the house and cashes in hard for Bilibili.
BLG, welcome to this upper bracket final. Nice for you to join us right here. Now Bin gonna jump in onto Flandre as well. Huge damage onto him. Ghost popped out of Flandre, attempting to get himself away. Should... Oh,
Flandre.
hang
Okay,
on.
he's baiting for the TP. Horn, knock up. Shanks trying to get here as quick as he can. Gonna get the Graviton well down, and Flandre perfectly baits out Bin, using all of his health bar to do it, and, well, he cashed in the shutdown I feel like he earned.
Complete control. That one does temper it a little bit.
Awesome to see the big ways got BLG back to their winning ways, and this is exactly how they do it. They play the map like it's 6-on-5, and the victim gonna be Tarzan and his jungle camps. No more buffs for you, my friend. It's back to the gray screen for a third time.
Apparently, Beitron, he needed himself an even more aggressive pickup in the jungle than the Vi. I'm sure once they went behind the stage between Games 1 and Games 2, there was a big talking that BLG went, and hey, we've got to be more aggressive. If we play an early game-based composition, we have to make it work during the early game right here. If we give you an early game jungle, you have to gank damage. It's very much on BLG to make the map work for them as much as possible while their composition is in such a strong position. They're going to pop the Herald now down into the mid lane. Hope also takes a huge chunk of damage right there from the accelerated shock blast. That's going to make this tower defense that much harder.
Impossible, even. They smite away the Herald, doesn't matter. The grubs, the wave was in position. BLG going through the motions expertly. Big to see after a game one filled with blunders. They are just potent on the map right now. They're going to turn their attention to the second Drake of the game. Is this a spot where anyone's legend feel like they can fight? Flandre certainly says so. There's the Horn. Look at Tarzan, Keeper's Verdict. It's going to knock out the Knight to Leah. So 5 versus 4 on the table. Huge charms come across, but the bullet time gets so much value from Elk. He turns and burns all the health bars. Tarzan does steal away the dragon, so BLG have to find more off the back, and it's Elk flashing forward. BLG gets the first kill onto Kyle. Bates one flies in with the Grand Starfall. Hope sectioned away. Bin free firing on the chase. This is BLG just flexing their muscles over their opponents. It's only Hope to find a straggling kill, but one more auto from Bin sends it home, and Shanks is next up on the menu. The Drake comes at an ultimate price. It's an ace coming through for BLG. Unless TP? Shanks somehow TP's out. Okay, so he lives, but still a resounding win for BLG.
Yeah, BLG take that team fight massively. They grab themselves that tier 2 tower on the back end of that one. Watch in the replay. Just going to be the Ornhorn used to try delay this push onto the tower. Isn't going to work to actually save it, especially not with the 3 grubs available tonight. You say the raw damage, and you're absolutely right. There's huge amounts of damage available to BLG, but interestingly, they're not looking to put all of it right here onto their mid laner. That's going to be a slightly interesting build early on.
Have to make this play. Knight with a huge Weaver's Wall, though. Nobody can get through but Tarzan. Keeper's Verdict whiffs. Tarzan's knocked up and thrown to the wolves. Elk finds the first kill. Kyle can't find the knock-up. Sure, Flandre finds it with a 2-man, but can Hope and Shanks bring enough damage to the table? Absolutely not. There's no way to match the power of Elk and Knight, and this time, it may finally be the ace, solidifying a disastrous Game 2 for AL and a supremacy of Bilibili Gaming.
It looks terrible for them in game number 1, but game 2 with a more aggressive early game focused composition, BLG are back. They picked themselves up the Atakan, they picked themselves up the Ace as well, only losing their support for it, and now they turn their sights onto the towers, onto getting even more gold for their early game prowess.
This game is completely obliterated.
So he's still going to be dealing tons of damage through that Rylai's. BLG, they need to keep the pace of this game up. They need to pick themselves up the Baron once it spawns here in 2 minutes' time. They are well and truly in control of this game.
Too little, too late to just play the stall game if you're anyone's legend.
Yeah.
And as you called out minutes ago, they're going to have to contend with a Baron that BLG might just feel confident starting up, or maybe just look for a fight here on a Kyle who burns the quickness, gets some charms down. No damage dealers are close enough to punish Kyle. There's the knock-up. There's the CC layering. On is down first, and Bin teleports into front of 2 members of anyone's legend. Murky fight start here for BLG. Grand Starfall for Beitron. Gets the flash out of Hope. Bullet time. Not going to hit on Hope as well, and there's the knock-ups. They've got Knight pinned against the wall. Another shutdown comes through for anyone's legend. They're down 8k gold, and somehow still finding winning plays.
Great aggression right there from AO. Questionable decision-making strikes BLG once again, and now they're going to have to try to fight around this Baron. There's no Keeper's Verdict from Tarzan to bop Beitron away, and they are pretty low in the pit right now.
There's no bullet time for Elk. Bin doesn't have access to a lot of his spells. Beitron, like you called out. Can't just go 50-50. Elk needs to poke down. It's Kyle gets very, very low. Tarzan, does he want the fight? Does he want the Baron? He's still jockeying. He can't make up his mind, and that cost Shanks his life. Tarzan goes down. What a shock blast from Bin! Completely eradicates the fight. Slamming the door shut is Gigabin and BLG, Baron and Ace.
There it is, in the 3 versus 5 AL. They're taking too much damage to the Baron. They're taking too much damage from the poke of Elk and BLG. They nearly throw it all away. Like you said, they're up 10,000 gold, and they made it work for a second. But all of a sudden, BLG, they come back. They're going to take this game number 2. We get at least 4 of this series. BLG, they do not want to go down.
Just when we thought BLG were making the same questionable calls that ruined game 1, they call on their veteran, the 3-time MSI goer Bin, if they can win this series. H1 will not pull this one out. He has 1 game on the Neferi, all split long. To Tarzan's 10. Role reversal, 2. Yep.
Make it a second
Boulder stacking
one.
is inevitable.
Oh boy,
Scuttle
Beitwan.
Crab fight is inevitable here for Beitwan as Tarzan playing the
it's
Trundle, one of the best 1v1 champions in the game. Beitwan, you're going to have to quit that flash at some point, but Tarzan's going to follow. Tarzan has first blood. We were looking for his early game impact.
Going to go down to AL very early on in this game. Elk getting a good amount of poke damage over onto Flandre, but he's still got flash. He's still going to be fine in this situation. Flandre, he's really not going to be a main...
BLG have, but they're not going to have Mound or Hex Tech. What does the response look like on the top side for BLG? They set up Beitwan for the dive onto Flandre, get the first knockup. Flash is committed on both sides, but Beitwan should be able to feed the pack. The Q slam down gets canceled, though. Bin and Flandre. Flandre heals up. Enough damage comes across for Bin, and luckily, he's taking enough to walk away from the turret, but that got a bit dicey. Hold on, Astro in the mid lane, gonna hit Knight. Great snipe comes across from Kyle, and they gift a kill back to Shanks. There's the playmaking.
And at support, you're just a little bit freer to step up, right? You're a little bit less worried about getting caught out. They're gonna keep putting the pressure on right now, although...
Here we go. Bin trying to line up a knock-up onto Hope. Remember, they have Fate's Call, though. Hope's going to try big on Kyle, but the handshake grabs Ion, and Hope is pulled right back into the wing. They're going to have a Realm Warp behind as well. There's no way out for Hope but a great screen, and Knight's going to try and grab the kill. He's got to get it done with auto attacks, but this is Shanks. He's got to be a bit careful about this, but Tarzan, oh no, it's actually going to be Flandre. See,
okay,
he's angry about not getting the feast stack on the Herald, so he's like, all right.
He's going to get it on the Drake, yeah.
But here's the thing, right? This would be so point in about 16.5 minutes. Are BLG going to give this away? They don't have a 50-50 smite, so they're going to look for Hope again, who's without summoners. Beitwan jumps on with the entire pack, and Hope's going to go down again. AL are trying to reap the rewards on the backside of the fight, but Beitwan gets another reset, jumps forward with that Neferi ultimate. There comes the Cassio ultimate, though. Knocks Bin out of his decimating smash. So down goes Bin to the Petrifying Gaze here from Cassiopeia. Another pillar down. Slows Knight through. They're trying to build slows. They got a Cassiopeia and an Ashe. They can just stack slow after slow, but they don't have the range. Elk and Knight are trying to step up. Kyle goes flash with Beitwan, but Elk is sectioned off. Nobody can help the Smolder, so he just tries to fight his way out. Gets 1 kill, sets up Knight, and now Shanks is going to have to flash out of the pit. Flandre follows as well. The golden left hand uplifts BLG. Ultimate, no. Shanks is able to back off, and Knight's TP might not even secure this top tier 1 turret. AL are in position to defend this, and Beitwan can't face check that brush. Tarzan is waiting for you. Pillar gonna
working out for them. I'm not sure what they're trying to find for themselves in that bot lane jungle. They don't get the grub. They don't get themselves that blue buff either. Now they're going to lose their mid lane tower off the back of this Herald play. And AL, again, they're not having to make too many of these big proactive plays because BLG just keep jumping into them. It's only through having some great plays from Knight on that ulti and a very slippery champion in the Neferi that BLG are even able to get away from this one. The initial idea is fine. Try to get yourself a pick up in the top lane. Fine. But the second that it doesn't work, they needed to just back off. And instead, BLG, it seems like once they commit, oh boy, have they committed.
It's just setting the trap, right? That's the AL bread and butter against
Control
BLG.
of the pace of the game when you pick yourself up the initial couple of Drakes. You can make this choice to just leave the next Drake. Who cares? It's their first one. You pick yourself up a top lane tower, you grab yourself the Atakan as well, and you're going to be more than happy with this as a trade.
Don't play into BLG's strength, their wheelhouse of wanting to fight over these do-or-die objectives. Instead, play the Anyone's Legend game.
Elk, as we see a snap decision to go straight on towards the Baron.
BLG know this is happening. Baron at about half HP. They're starting to scramble. They TP in Bin, and all of a sudden we might have our first 5v5 on our hands as On takes a bit of damage here, about half HP, but Tarzan in the same spot. Unstoppable Onslaught does hit on the Kyle. Great Fate Seal though. Hope gets them out. Here's the hostile takeover. It does not get Beitwan the steal. Tarzan secures Baron, and now AL can turn their attention towards the fight if they want it. Trying to slow up Knight, but boy does he pump out the damage. Kyle, blinking health bar. Flandre down to about 20% HP. AL do not make the same mistake BLG did in game 1. You don't need to fight after the Baron win. They had resets come across. Kyle is not here. Flandre gets a huge rupture, and it sets up Hope to get the first run down onto On, and Tarzan running right at Elk, chomps down on the baby dragon. Knight cannot realm warp out. Shakes is gonna find him just like that. AL get the Baron and the critical fight win. They're running wild on Summoner's Rift.
This is the point at which their composition is so strong. Everybody is online right now for AL, and with the Baron buffs available to them, they're going to be able to push on forwards. It's only Beitwan. It's only been available right now. The TP back in from Hank. They want to go. They want it.
They're going to get the inhibitor down next, and we're going to see if AL really want to go all in for this end right here. 5 versus 3. The wave is starting to thin, but there's the arrow down onto Bin. On has to flash away. Can Beitwan, Bin, and On save the game? One fight. Is that all AL needs to win this game 3? No. They're going to play a bit more measured with Elk respawning and Knight a couple seconds away. Good cancel on the Unstoppable Onslaught. Look at that pillar coming across from Tarzan. Bin doesn't get in. Instead, he meets the double fake death coming across from Shakes. Bin down next. Do AL still want over? Still, they're welcome. 5 versus 3. Because boys, Elk starting to really hit, but he goes into the bailout. Kyle dies, so he goes back up. Can Shakes push out enough of the damage? Knight's trying to hold him on the front side of the fight, but no, he can't get in. Flandre just ruptured and bleeds BLG down. AL one Baron fight's all they need. They're on match point for the grand finals.
There we go. AL, all they need.
More than enough damage on AL's side. And BLG are far indexed into Elk as a huge damage dealer to that final. And he's trying to break the record, get them to 3 straight MSIs, and maybe he'll start with this fight as they get the Hextech Ultimatum into the Hero's Entrance combination. Tarzan gonna flash out, then turn his attention back towards Bin. Shakes tries to fly over to find the trade kill onto Bin. Beitwan needs to bail out. Flandre's gonna hunt him down. Shakes should be able to clean up this kill onto Bin, but the hook shot comes across. Back to the grub fight here. AL, what's the decision here? Stacked up as 5. Tried and true to how they've won 2 of these games so far, but they can't steal away the second grub. That one's secured by Beitwan. Shakes trying to fight over for the third one. There's the public execution. Lands for Flandre onto On, but that's the Elise. She can easily go back into the spider form and jump on out. Flandre too low. Bin eviscerates him with the Q2. Down goes Tarzan in the background. The piercing arrow from Elk. Here comes BLG. They will not be denied a spot in grand finals, and they're going to solidify a huge start to the game. 5-1 up in the kill count.
BLG, they play that one with such restraint.
The Rod of Ages already stacking for Knight is big, but with Elk 2-0-1 as well, you want to get that first lethality item through soon, but the Cocoon lands into the Excel's Impact. What a combo from On and Beitwan. The Impale holds Shakes at bay. The Corki goes down, and guess who in a Chains Corruption in the background? It was Elk again, marking Tarzan for destruction. Kyle gonna walk out, but 4 members of BLG will CC him, lock him down again, and BLG are just running away with this early game. 3 more kills with no response coming from anyone's Legend.
I love the combo. We get to see it time and time again right here, where somebody could go flying into the back line and give Knight the perfect ulti angle. The Hero's Entrance, we talked about it, right? It's so strong at the moment. And yes, it's not the flashy carry you usually expect from Knight, but this is still a champion he is damn good on. BLG, they're using this blue side draft to perfection so far. They've got themselves a huge lead, right? Any potential dives. Although, top side maybe, hang on.
There we go. I mean, Elise is such an impotent dive champion because she can drop aggro, but he didn't even need to there as the fights are breaking out all over the map. BLG, this is the way they decimate their opponents, chasing them down. There's nowhere to hide from the might of Bilibili Gaming with an early game lead, and Flandre is going to be the next domino to fall right in front of Hope, who can only watch as his team is decimated.
Slow things down a bit. But that being said, it's not like your composition massively outscales the opponent. They're not in that same a scary top laner. It's been interesting this split, right? Where a lot of these very aggressive top laners who we usually think of as playing these big carry champions have been playing a lot tankier options, not really been having to play themselves as the big carries. Well, in this game, Bin certainly is going to be one, and he really does look good so far. Drake going to be started up right here by BLG. They're in such a strong position that I don't even know if Tarzan wants to go for this one. They do know the Drake is happening, so they can try. No.
Maybe a Prairie Steel? Nope. Not worth it. It's just second Drake of the game. But like we talked about, Anyone's Legend, you have to do something to stem this bleeding. The gold lead is only compounding on top of you, and now BLG are on top of you as well. Flashing after Tarzan, going after Hope in the background. Clutch flash comes across, though. Elk gets to safety, and the Hextech Ultimatum holds down Flandra. Can't even run through anybody on that Pandon and Bessa. BLG are just so deadly in these fights, and they are locked in.
Fight, but we've been talking about it, right? Anytime you've got yourself the Elise, you're more than happy to just trade your life for somebody else's. You're not useful in these extended team fights. Flandra, he thought he had a way out, just gets hauled straight back. And as we jump into the picture-in-picture, the mid lane tier 1 tower was
objectives. But then the 2 games they win, they are just running over their opponents at a breakneck speed. Again, another fight. Bejuan sets up beautifully. Tarzan's going to dive in alongside Hope. They're going to trade out Elk, but the rest of their team is too far behind, and the rest of BLG can kind of just pick up the scraps. Even Bin hook shots away perfectly from a perfect public execution.
Ooh,
there is no way to lock down Bin, and the rest of BLG are going to reap the rewards. Another fight win to the tune of 4 kills to 1.
AL, they have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at Elk, and they're only just able to pick themselves up that kill. Flandra now potentially going to get jumped right here, get stunned into the wall, and this should just be one dead champion. That's going to be the ace picked up right here. Tier 2 tower taken down as well. Like you said, 20 minutes. We can finish them off right here. We can land this killing blow. Oh, picture-in-picture.
Hold on, picture-in-picture. Lights are out. But look at Bejuan, man. This guy's 2 take items deep. He's like, all right, Kyle, come here. Impale down. Arrow to the heart. Down goes Kyle. The rest of BLG hunting. There's a Hextech Ultimatum hookshot combination coming across from Bin. Flandra is trapped, and one more arrow will send another member of Anyone's Legend to the great screen. And Bejuan's looking for more. Another beautiful installs, impact stun, lands another kill. It's one after another. BLG are unrelenting.
And that should be a turnaround towards the Baron, but oh wait, we're way too fast into this game. Yeah, they've only got themselves the Atakan and a lonely red buff to be able to take away. The pace of this game is just so accelerated. 21 minutes, 40 seconds into this game, you've got 2 completed items onto your bot lane. 2 for your mid, 2 all across the board right now for BLG, whereas you're pulling together scraps and components right now as AL. Hope has only just managed to complete that second item.
What a response for BLG. A game set up to be all about AL. Solidifying another top 8 team is unproven members alongside staple carry veterans. Making another grand final in convincing fashion. But that was all anticlimactic. That was all a smokescreen.
Yeah.
Because Big Way, who knows top 8 better than most, has BLG in position to come into that side selection with all the confidence in the world, as these kills are just routine.
Bin does.
Yeah, I mean, that's 1 Q2, does about 60% of Kyle's health bar, and he's down for a 7th time, and just going through the motions, BLG. Oh, Cloud Drake's up, that's ours.
And they're just picking up the available objectives right now. The only thing slowing them down is the fact that they're too dang fast in this game. They don't have a Baron to be able to grab, to push themselves into the base. Is going to be a trade back of a tower. That's a little bit of gold that you return to yourselves as AL, but they're still going to be down by 10,000 gold. The 2 games right here that BLG have won, they've managed to establish themselves 10,000 gold leads. That's a difference between the way that these 2 teams play. When AL win, they do it calm and collected. They find themselves the correct fights. They don't over-aggress, you know. They play with a lot of restraint. BLG, the second that you give them a little bit, they're just going to keep going. They tempered their aggression a bit during the early stages of this game. Now, though, they are full foot on the gas.
And they're just double ganking mid lane onto Shanks, who just wants to pick up simple creeps. He thinks, oh yeah, gotta wait for one. No. Psych! Bejuan's waiting for you in a brush, sets up the beautiful impale. This is Bejuan at his peak performance on this Skarner. What has really elevated BLG and made them a true threat once again for the LPL title.
The only thing holding AL into this game right now is the fact that you've got a ton of wave clear on the Ziggs. This Corki, right, I was a little bit suspicious of it coming into this game. And so far, Hope has been able to do absolutely nothing. Yeah, he kind of does some decent damage now that he's got these 2 items completed, but let's see if he can actually make it work now he's scaled up. Flandra, I don't know that you actually want this fight, bud.
Yeah, no, we're committing ultimates on a full tank champions when we're 10k gold down. This is exactly what happens. Yep. Flandra leaves with a whimper. Night Flash is going to taunt just for the ego. He's just mentally waging war against Hope, and it's more kills for BLG.
Oh, the TP,
again,
the TP.
Go through the motions. There are some low health bars here.
Yeah.
Can Shanks clean them up? This is just a Corki, right? You got to be careful. If you dash too close, one taunt, one big boulder to the face could ruin it all. And look at the backside of the fight here. It's Owen starting it off. Kyle's going to die once again. Shanks and Tarzan. How do they even clean this up? They can't get anywhere near Elk. Bin will threaten them with one hook shot. They can't find any avenue in. Instead, they're trapped in a hexagon of decimation. Down goes Tarzan. Shanks gets 932 gold and another one-way ticket to the fountain. 28 kills in 25 minutes. Bloodshed by definition in the name of BLG. Rush. Now, here's the dilemma. Do you jump Bin when he roams down, or do you go for the 50-50? Oh, Tarzan!
No.
They know they're there.
They can turn.
And they're going to look for the turn. Here we go. Hero's entrance. Hextech ultimatum down onto Hope. Can they kill off Bin before he finds any of these kills? He does finally fall, but it just doesn't matter. Wallet diff by definition. BLG clean up the fight just like that, and now it's time to knock down the Nexus and send us the distance in our upper bracket final.
It's going to be the slow walk down of the Nexus. BLG, they didn't even need the Baron in this game. They do not want to be sent down to the losers bracket. They want to compete for that MSI spot. They want to compete for the grand finals right here. It took them 27 minutes, but they were in control for all 27. The respawn timers are way too long. BLG, they're going to walk this one through.
You can question their losses all day long, but when BLG win, they dominate better than any other, and they've done it in 2 games of 3 to get to that grand final.
CC from AL, I can understand that. You give it a little bit of extra attack speed steroid over to your Tristana as well. This is putting Elk in a position to carry, and I like that Elk has got himself a little bit more of a mobile. Potentially looking for a little gank right here. Hope is at about half health, but he is going to be spotted out right here, is Beitron, so you know this is happening. There's not going to be any response from anyone else from AL. I just don't know if they have the minion wave for this dive.
Here we go, the first domino to fall. Protect Hope comp being tested at level 1. Flashes over the turret, burns the barrier. On perfectly takes up the turret aggro, but Beitron is going to die to the ramp up. Kyle gets the kill, but a win for Bilibili because guess who grabbed first blood?
Top side of the map, well, at least the bot lane for AL. BLG actually decide not to rotate their bot lane up anywhere near as quickly, and that should secure this initial Drake right here for BLG. It's going to be spotted out by Tarzan. He can try for a steal if he wants it, but with push in the bot lane, push in the mid lane, it wouldn't really be his chance.
Doesn't help that Shanks is also taking some rough trades into Knight, who now brings a ton more kill threat to wherever he goes. Perfect execution online. Ultimates coming through for these solo lanes. And there is the first dragon to fall, Beitron. Neither jungler is great at doing this on their own. So Hope and Kyle trying to use their lane priority to burn through this Drake, but here comes Beitron. Knight on the bot side as well. Bin can teleport in. Could this be the first big fight of our Game 5? There's Nature's Grass down with Beitron. No real chance to try and steal. He has to dash back out to safety. We're trying to lock down On. There's the flash forward from Tarzan. Has On marked down. He falls. Hope gets the first Jinx reset, but Bin flashes after him. Gets the stun, but once again, Hope matches the flash for flash perfectly. Between Worlds comes across, but watch Knight. Pops the perfect execution. Can he fly in? No. Goes across the entire fight. Gets stunned by the concussive blow. Knight in perfect position. Shut down by AL and Kyle.
To start pushing onto this tower, but actually the teleport comes back in right here from Flandre. He thinks he's fine for a take 2.
Keep in mind, he's got Thormail. Like, if you don't bring Knight, it's impossible to kill Flandre. As the race for the first turret comes around, they bring Beitron down again. This is deja vu, but this time they have no turret. They have no wave. They can't dive. Look at what it's costing them. AL are burning through plates. They should get this first turret as well. They're going to win for first brick. That's going to get them feats of warfare.
They're losing mid lane as well.
Flandre, I mean, how much time has Flandre wasted? BLG, sure, this dive is probably going to come across. Flandre and the turret are going to go down, but it's taken so much time off the clock. Nearly a full minute, Flandre has occupied 4 out of 5 BLG members' attention.
And they lose themselves the top lane.
Side. BLG wrestle control of the Herald and will start it up.
They do right here as AL. They're going to walk into this pit second, a place where their composition going to be more than happy. Knight potentially looking for a little bit of a flank right here.
Oh, Glacial Prison hits no members. There goes Knight. They're going after Hope. Protect the Jinx comp. The concussive blow stuns keep Knight in place. Can he get the perfect execute? No! It falls fat. The 5-fingered strike misses. Elk's going to go down as well. Hope stays alive. Protects the Jinx. Win Game 5. The recipe for success. AL trying to get it.
They gave so much over to Hope right here. They expected to keep him alive with this composition, and they manage it right now. Bin also gonna have to run away right here, just about gets underneath the tower, isn't gonna get killed here, but still the mid lane tier 1 also goes down. You pick yourself up, that Herald, sorry, to just get away, to just keep himself alive. That means that the tower is gonna go down. Elk at least manages to trade a little bit of gold back to himself in the top side of the map, but they wanna keep going, do AL.
They have control, they can cut off all the jump points. Beichuan gonna go under turret. Shelly cracks into tier 2. There's a couple of blows again, stacking up. It's stuns on top of stuns. A rocket in the back of Beichuan. Blinking health bar. Is that enough for BLG to surrender this tier 2 turret? No, it's their solo lanes they're trying to stand on. They're veterans, but Bin is brunted once again. It's the Braum stuns ruining everything for BLG, and now it's desperation. Glacial Prison thrown into the face of Kyle. He gobbles that one happily, and guess who gets the free fire? Again, it's the unproven AD carry that AL rely on. Hope making the most out of this Jinx pick.
It just doesn't feel like Knight can get any ways into the backline. Beichuan and Bin, they're not tanky enough to frontline it right now, and they're going to lose out onto another Drake right here. AL picking themselves up everything across the board right now. The gold lead is only 3,000, and they haven't got quite as many of the neutral objectives as they would otherwise want, but they are still in firm control of this game, partly because BLG have decided... Yeah, I don't think there's any way you can step up at this point. Elk, he doesn't flow any of his summoner spells, but it still puts him in such a vulnerable position. I really like the aggression right there from Flandre to step up, get himself that little bit of extra healing through the plant. Bin once again spotted out on an attempted flank. Yeah. Elk, he's sprinting down.
Exact movement AL made in that first opening match win. Take the Dragon, take the Octocon, catch BLG napping, and once again, they're desperately trying to get down here to stop the Octocon, but unlike game 1, they're not going to full send it into Fog, throw the game away. Instead, they give more of a lead over to AL. This one, as they try and push down for this mid-tier 1 turret. TP coming through. That is Flandre into the heart of BLG, but Beichuan section off to the side. There's the Glacial Fissure. They knock up Beichuan. The jungler is down right in front of Baron's front door.
That should spell disaster right here for BLG. AL, though, they want to keep stepping forwards. They want to potentially find themselves a little bit more of a play. Elk jumping forwards. He's so aggressive right now. He has to be. We've seen AL throw it around a Baron before. They have the numbers advantage. What can BLG do?
One fight for glory. One fight for the history books of anyone's legend if they can get this Baron and win the fight out. And it's looking worse and worse for BLG right now. On is down to about 40% HP, and Bin is cut off to the side. He flashes after Hope, but nobody's there to come with him. Knight, nobody else can get close enough. Another pick found for AL as they're tightening their grip on this series. Now their attention turns towards the purple worm. There's just no way for BLG ever to get in. They're getting poked down. On's health bar is blinking. Knight has to use the strategy to get to safety. Pick after pick is all AL need, and now they have the purple banner on 5.
This is going to be AL tightening the grip right here on BLG. If he's ever actually allowed to step up and hit somebody during these team fights, there's a chance that this goes well for him. But unfortunately, you're just constantly getting pushed away. Kyle takes a decent chunk of damage here, but Tarzan
Grass forces out the campfire from On, but Elk is down, and there's the reset for Hope. Could this be the moment that anyone's legend grab the glory for MSI for the first time? Maybe with Beichuan going down, and Knight just can't get away from the Gatling gun that's Hope. It's a triple kill. It's a chance at glory, a chance in the history books. And AL, they might just go for it all right here, right now, Bloxer.
Oh, it's only been an On left available right now. The tower gonna fall. The inhibitor gets melted through as well. And with the last bits of the Baron buff still available, this one should be over. AL, they want to go to the grand finals. They want the MSI title for themselves. The first tower falls. The second soon to follow.
Here it is, everyone. Hope has done it. History was on the side of BLG, but fate and destiny is behind anyone's legends. Say it with me now for the first time. AL going to MSI for the LPL.